Hello everyone. Two powerful hurricanes are currently roaring across North America, causing serious damage both east and west. Let's start in the Caribbean, where the hurricanes are raging with particular fury. One of them recently hit the islands of Barbuda, Guadeloupe, and Trinidad. Wind gusts reach speeds of up to 136 kilometers per hour, which led to the assignment of the hurricane of the first category of power. The streets are in chaos, with power outages and fallen trees, and torrents of water flowing between houses. Roads are temporarily closed in some areas, and flights and train schedules have undergone changes. Weather conditions in the eastern Caribbean will worsen through midweek, according to the U.S. National Hurricane Center. It is expected that rainfall could exceed 300 millimeters. Locals are experiencing more hurricanes in the region, and scientists attribute this to climate change. At the moment, we have no information on fatalities or injuries, but emergency services are working around the clock. We urge the public to remain calm and follow the instructions of rescuers. Not just in Mexico. A powerful hurricane has arrived in the region, accompanied by heavy rains and strong wind gusts. The governor of the state of Southern Baja California, Victor Manuel Castro, has urged residents to stay in their homes and for bars, clubs, and other businesses to close. Flooding occurred in some areas and residents were evacuated to emergency shelters. Meteorologists say the storm is expected to bring up to 380 millimeters of rain to the region, and there is a threat of more severe flooding and landslides, according to local media reports. The government has already deployed 500 Marines to the resort of Los Cabos to help prepare for the storm, and authorities may open up to 39 emergency shelters if necessary. All residents and tourists are asked not to leave their homes or hotels, postpone all long-distance travel, and be prepared for any eventuality. We are sorry, but the situation in the Middle East has become traditional, where every day brings new tragic events. Israeli strikes on a refugee camp in the Gaza Strip killed at least 30 people, according to Al Jazeera TV. Another 27 Palestinians were injured. Journalists note that two residential buildings and an Albanian mosque in the town of Jabba in the north of the enclave were attacked. Palestinian news agency Wafa says there were also strikes on areas adjacent to the two hospitals in Gaza, including clinics. The Israeli Air Force may have deliberately made it difficult for the health system to operate, although this statement was made by the Palestinian side and everyone can draw their own conclusions by filtering the information. In Israel, some 200,000 residents have had to be evacuated due to the escalating Palestinian-Israeli conflict. According to the Times of Israel, about half of them fled from 105 settlements near the borders with the Gaza Strip and Lebanon. In turn, the Jerusalem Post reports that emergency repairs to 4,000 bomb shelters have begun in northern Israel in anticipation of a possible escalation of the conflict with Lebanon and the opening of the northern front. Experts, both military and political analysts, do not rule out such a possibility, especially if Israel decides to conduct a ground operation, which they believe is almost inevitable. Retired Israel Defense Forces spokesman, Jonathan Conricus, said the main goal is the complete destruction of Hamas. CNN, citing a senior Israeli official, says Tel Aviv has no intention of ceasing fire even while negotiating the release of the two hostages, lest humanitarian efforts affect the mission to eliminate the radicalized Palestinians. The situation of the parties' disagreement is not entirely clear, but many countries around the world have expressed concern that the tragic events in the Middle East are linked to U.S. actions. Some agencies are even suggesting that Washington and the administration of the U.S. President, Joe Biden, may be provoking a full-scale war in the Middle East. Events on the world stage raise questions about the shadowy participants in this conflict. In Italy, there was an explosion of a house in the town of Rera in the late hours of the night, and locals could not understand at first what had happened. According to Italian journalists, it is believed that liquefied gas cylinders exploded and a fire started immediately after the explosion. It is known about 2 dead, a man and a woman who lived in the house. Their house was literally blown into small debris. The fire was eliminated only by morning, and the emergency services continue to work on the scene. They are actively searching for injured and missing people, and there is a high probability that people may be under the rubble of the buildings. The city of Zhangjian in China faced the 16th typhoon this year, and its name is Sanba. Heavy rainfall caused the city's sewers to fail and water began flooding the streets. The first floors of houses were underwater and locals had to resort to using inflatable boats to get around. Many car owners even left their vehicles on the roads to save their lives. As a result of the typhoon, there is no power supply in most areas. Emergency services are currently working hard to restore life in the city, and the exact number of casualties is still being finalized. Meteorologists have declared a red warning, the most serious, and ask local residents to carefully monitor the situation and strictly follow the instructions of rescuers. Authorities in the region also warn that weather conditions could change at any moment. Already the cost of the damage caused is estimated at several $million. An amazing story concerns a German family from the town of Künzelsau. 8 years ago they moved with their parents to Germany, where they were building a successful career. Everything seemed fine, the family lived in comfort, but despite this, something always seemed to be missing for them. In 2021, they made the decision to make a radical change in their lives. One spouse said, "We were living in Germany, in a small town of just 34,000 people. We were always in a hurry and trying to find our place in the system, but we always wanted to get out of it. We dreamed of a place where we could find a simple and direct life, resurrect our souls and experience the present. We spent almost 20 years forgetting what real life is, spending our days in the office." The idea to move to the Altai region came to them. Jeanette, one of the spouses, is now learning Russian, and she admits that it seems difficult, but she already understands a lot. The couple run their own farm, taking care of sheep, bees, and even turkeys. In addition, they have plans to make delicious homemade cheese. New York City hosted a costumed dog carnival in honor of Halloween, and it has become one of the most popular events among pet lovers in the United States. Dozens of furry four-legged friends transformed into ghosts, goblins, and other horrific characters as they paraded in Tompkins Square. Even a little rain didn't stop them from enjoying the festivities. According to local media reports, both the furry participants themselves and their owners enjoyed the event. More than 600 dogs participated in this year's parade, and about 15,000 people came to watch the spectacle. Parade participants were inspired by ideas found on social media or even created their own costumes. In both cases, the result was surprisingly original. Do you enjoy this spectacle? At the end of the 50th anniversary celebration of the Opera House in Sydney, a majestic event was staged using a laser show. Thousands of lights lit up the night sky over the city. Many residents commented that they had never seen a more impressive spectacle than this sparkling sky over the Sydney Opera House. The Sydney Opera House is visited by about 11 million people each year. It was opened by Queen Elizabeth III in 1973, and is still a major attraction for tourists from all over the world. Not surprisingly, the light show that took place in honor of the anniversary will last for another 3 days.